Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Matt with the DPI podcast, and we've got a great show tonight. Peter with Princesses and the Mouse. Disney Travel's going to join us. We've got a ton of news, and we've got a brand new top 3 episodes, so stick with us. Let's have a good show. Hi, I'm Matt. Welcome to Disney Planning Insights. Through creative content and live shows, we explain the hidden details of the Disney experience so that our clients can execute memorable adventures. Together with Princesses and the Mouse, Disney Travel, we have helped hundreds of clients plan, book, and prepare for magical Disney vacations. Let our experience help you avoid common planning mistakes and maximize the enjoyment on your next Disney trip. Everybody, what's going on? It's Matt with the Disney Planning Insights podcast. Well, we got a good show tonight. We're going to pick up our conversation with Peter with Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel about the dining plans. We've got some new information about the strikes going on in Paris. We got to preview a new ride over in Hong Kong, and we've got some news concerning the holiday special, the Halloween special over at Disneyland. So, yeah, big news week, surprisingly, since we did get the drop of the dining plans last week. So let's bring on Peter with Princesses and the Mouse, and let's talk some news. Mr. Salvadori, congratulations. Sectional champions in the Indiana State Golf Tournament. When does regionals start?
Regionals is Thursday morning. First tee time is at 8:50. You got to be up bright and early both days. Tomorrow, we actually kind of lucked out because by the time I made the phone call for our practice times, a whole bunch of the times have been taken. So our choices were either 8:10 or 12:10, and the guys immediately were like, "Oh, let's do 8 o'clock. Let's do 8 o'clock." So got to roll out of school at about 6:45 tomorrow morning, but it actually works out perfectly because we tee off at 8:50 on the day of regionals, so we'll probably roll out of school around 6:45.
There you go, and you'll get similar conditions with,
exactly.
Dew on the greens and that kind of stuff. So, no, pretty cool. So, congratulations on that. So, like I said in the intro, we do have a ton of news. So, I'm going to go ahead and get our news screen up, and let's start talking about what's going on with Disney. All right, we got 15 minutes, and I think the big thing that we need to start with is dining plans. Packages for 2024 were released on May the 31st, and we got the first look at the dining plan pricing. So why don't you go over that real quick, and let's talk about how that equates into actual digesting that price for meals. So,
sure. So we, and you can fill in because I knew you knew the exact number, but basically, so really quick rundown of the dining plan. Exciting, it's back. A couple of changes that Matt and I did talk about because we knew about them. Quick service plan is going to be 2 counter service credits plus 1 snack per person per day. The regular, or the Disney dining plan, as it is called, is 1 table service, 1 quick service, and 1 snack per person per day. So really the only difference there is that one of your quick service, your counter credits, turns into a sit-down meal that you're going to be able to use. And was it just last week that you and I kind of went through a slew of kind of caveats and restaurants that were involved, or was that 2 weeks ago?
That was last week. We went through all the restaurants.
So if you want more information about this, Matt and I detailed this last week. So if you jump back to the 30th, you'll be able to see more information about that. But ultimately, what struck Matt and I, and he can kind of go through the exact prices, but what struck Matt and I the biggest was that the prices went up to a point where you're essentially just kind of prepaying for your food. So Matt and I used to be big proponents of the meal plan because if you did it right, and yeah, maybe if you ordered a little bit more expensive things off of the menu and other stuff like that, basically about halfway through your quick service credits, you would be kind of breaking even.
Yeah.
Now you're pretty much just prepaying your food, and you have to work to make sure that you are getting the value of it. Matt, do you remember the exact dollar amounts off the top of your head?
Yeah, so the quick service plan that is getting released for 2024 is going to be $57 per night per adult and $23.83 per child per night. And then for the regular Disney dining plan, and this is the one that kind of jumped out to me, the adult per night price is $94.28, and then the child price is $29.69. Now we have to remember that child on Disney is under 10. So, my daughter who's 12 is paying $94 a day for food. Now, granted, my 12-year-old can eat $94 worth of steak, and I don't have a problem with that. But there are a lot of 12-year-olds that are still chicken nuggets, burgers, and pizza kids, and they aren't going to get that value out of that price.
Yeah, and that's a great point to bring up, is how Disney categorizes an adult. So you go, oh, that's fine, my kids are cheaper. No, your 9-year-olds and lower are cheaper, and they're likely only going to be getting the $10, $12 kids meal anyway. So is it really a value? Now, I would still make an argument that a family going with at least one kid under 10 that gets a quick service meal, if you kind of do what I talked about last show, and that's kind of use 3 meals to feed 4 people, make sure you get alcoholic beverages on all of them. Now that quick service meal could still end up being a very big bargain for a family that kind of does it that way. But like you just brought up, 95, I'm just going to round it, say $95. Yeah. Matt and I talked about this on the phone a little bit last week, Wednesday, when we started to see the prices come out. $95. So first of all, I better not get a bottle of water or a Coke or a piece of fruit with my snack. I better be aiming for $7, $8 things. I better be aiming for good plates at Epcot Festival. I better be getting Dole Whips or better with my snack credit. So now I'm at, let's say, $87. Okay, the most you can spend if you don't get an alcoholic beverage at a quick service location, the biggest menu items you're going to find are going to be 17 to 20 bucks.
Yeah.
So now you're still, if you just get a Coke on that meal, you're still at easily $40 to $45. So now you got to walk into every lunch aiming for the highest priced items, aiming for the $40 salmon dishes and the $35 chicken dishes. And again, if you're just getting a fountain beverage, you've lost money on the day. Is like the only way the dining plan becomes super, like even break even or slightly an advantage, is if you're at minimum ordering a beer at each one of those entitlements, but even preferably one of the $15 to $18 cocktails at all of those sit down and quick service locations. Then and only then will you go, oh, cool, I saved like $15 a day off of my dining. Otherwise, it is just straight up a prepay system. You have to go for all the expensive menu items versus maybe I just sit down and I want the $22 burger. You better not if you're using a dining credit.
Well, and even the places that come up as 2 credit meals, let's take like Royal Table, for example. It takes 2 credits now. And with those credits being worth, roughly $50, you're valuing a Royal Table at $100 now, and it's not that much.
No, it's like 70.
Yeah, but 70, I mean, you're going to save money not being on the dining plan if you have any of those 2 credit meals, and especially if you're looking at like a Le Cellier or something like that, where you're going to have a special menu anyway for the dining plan. It's going to be hard to get the value out of that Disney dining plan like we used to. And for reference, the Disney dining plan now is as expensive as the deluxe dining plan was in 2016.
And they took a snack away. Don't forget that. I
Yeah.
used to get 2 snacks per person per day. Now I only get 1. I will say, on your point, for those viewers out there who are like, oh, dining plan is just awful. Oh, DPI hates it. I think for a family, a quick service plan, for a family who wants to be a bit more on the go, doesn't want that sit down every day, I am going to be a big fan of, all right, so let's book your 2 to 3 dining reservations. Let's get you the quick service plan. And now you're just going to pay a couple $100 2 or 3 times for your nicer sit down meals. Because I do think you will find value in the quick service plan.
Yes.
Because the quick service plan still comes off at mid 40s, especially if you get those cocktails or drinks. I mean, you could be $40 for just you if you get a cocktail and food. You could be $30 to $35 at most quick service locations, and now you're going to pay $45 on the day. Yeah, quick service plan, totally worth it. But for those families out there that like to sit down once per day, I don't know if I can look them in the face. Like, that's going to be the question I ask my clients, because I'm an incredibly honest travel agent. I don't upsell. I don't try to put you in a situation that you really don't need to be in. I try to find the right fit for your family. So if somebody goes, oh, we should get the dining plan. Yeah, we're going to sit down at lunch every day. My first question is going to be, do you drink? Sorry to be so forward, but do you plan on drinking on your vacation? And if they say no, I'm going to say you are far better off just taking $2,000 worth of gift cards with you and having your prepaid food that way. Do not get the full dining plan. It's because, like you and I just detailed, now you do get a dessert, so you do have to put value on at a sit-down restaurant. You do get dessert.
Yeah.
Some of those character meals are going to be single credits. So yes, if you're going to get the dining plan, you better be doing 2 or 3 of those buffet single credit options, because that'll totally make up for it, because now you're a $50, $60 meal. You totally made your money in the day. So like, those are the questions I'm going to ask. I'm like, if we're not doing buffets or character meals and we're not planning on drinking, we're not getting the dining plan. It's just doesn't make sense to do it.
Yeah, and like you said, that quick service plan does make a lot of sense, especially if you want to have some flexibility, because on the adult side, the quick service plan only raised a couple of dollars from 2020 pricing before the pandemic to now. So that quick service plan does make sense, especially if you're going to grab a beer, if you're going to grab a mixed drink or something with that meal. So we'll talk about this a lot more coming up. So, and especially as I'm sure we're going to get more questions and we start booking some more packages with the dining plans on them, we'll definitely kind of figure out a way to tie those into the show. Let's move over to Disneyland real quick and talk about Oogie Boogie Bash. Excited Oogie Boogie Bash is back, and it is expanded this year. So normally Oogie Boogie Bash was a little bit smaller version of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party over in Disneyland. This year it is very much on par with Not So Scary. So dates are going to be September 5th through October 31st, with prices ranging from $134 per ticket to $189. Still a little bit on the high end, but the peak pricing isn't as high as what it is at World. Tickets are going to go on sale on June 29th, with early access to Magic Key holders on June the 27th. So good for Oogie Boogie Bash. Again, it's just one of those things. These are the kinds of things that make me feel like the park's coming back. And it's not just kind of that shell of an experience that it used to be. So, any thoughts on Oogie Boogie Bash from you?
No, you detailed it. I mean, yeah, it's almost the Not So Scary is definitely a bigger party, for sure. But yeah, it is very nice, like you said. It is very nice to kind of have these things to do, have these things to talk about. I did think of these parties in a different perspective, because I have a client who has like a vacation membership, so they've already like booked their stay, so we're talking through tickets and things like that, and they're trying to decide between 4 park days or going to a party. And when you look at the party cost up front, you go, ooh, man, that is steep. But I put it into terms of, so like for their family of 4, if you talk about buying a 4th park day or buying 3-day park tickets and a party, it's only about $100 more. So if you kind of treat your party day as, well, we're going to get in as soon as we can, whether that be 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, they kind of fluctuate party to party, year to year. But if I get in, 4 or 5 o'clock and I've got all the way until midnight, now I've got 7 to 8 hours, plus I've got unique shows, unique experiences. And if I put it in terms of replacing a park day, it makes a whole lot of sense. It does not make sense to buy a park day and a party ticket on the exact same day. It just really doesn't, because you're going to be out late. You might as well sleep in, rest your way to the party, and then take full advantage of the party.
Correct. Unless you're just like 6, 7, 8 day tickets where, the tickets per day are extremely cheap and you're just kind of popping in the morning and then coming out of the park, taking a rest, and then going back. That's would be the only caveat to that I feel like those longer stays, as that price per ticket drops dramatically, it makes a lot of sense at that point. So, Drawn to Life over at Disney World released its schedule for spring 2024, and it's pretty consistent. So Wednesday through Sunday. Wednesday through Sunday performances. Wednesday through Saturday, it's going to be nightly showings at 5:30 and 8 p.m. Sunday, we'll have 2 matinees, one at 1:30 and one at 4 p.m. Drawn to Life is put on by Cirque du Soleil, the Canadian acrobat troupe, and they are unbelievable shows. As soon as Peter gets his light situation figured out, he will let you know, because they actually went and saw Drawn to Life over at World here on one of his last few trips. So while he's working on his light, Disney World Floral and Gifts are ending on August the 26th. They will be outsourcing the services starting on the 27th of August, but they won't have any details about the outsourcing until the 27th of August. So, wow. You don't get a lot of chance to get your stuff pre-made and ready if you're going at the end of August. Disneyland Hong Kong released some footage of the new Frozen Ever After at World of Frozen. You are going to meet Anna, Elsa, and Olaf, and waiting to welcome Voyagers back hand in hand from their visit to the North Mountain. And Disneyland Paris. So Disneyland Paris, and I'm going to let the timer expire, and then we'll hit Peter with the Cirque du Soleil thing, and then this real quick, because this kind of concerns me over in Paris. So Peter, real quick, Drawn to Life, what did you guys think of it?
Oh, it was a great show. I think it fits really well at Disney World, because previous Cirque du Soleil shows, my one knock against them was that you could have given me that show anywhere and it would have made just as much sense as it did right here. This show was specifically designed for the fact that it was on Disney property. The show was wonderful. Without giving too much away, it follows a girl who's kind of battling with some mental struggles due to dealing with the death of a family member, and like the way that she connected to that family member was through their sort of creativity and artism, and so the story is all about that. It is really, really wonderful. There's kind of a villain, and then there's some heroes, whole bunch of really amazing acrobatic numbers, obviously, but throughout it you get Disney imagery and Imagineering sketches and animators and all sorts of like tie-ins to, and then there's some Walt Disney like sound clips that come on in various parts. So it's very much like this is the Walt Disney World Cirque du Soleil show. So I highly recommend, if you have some spare time, if you're going down there for yet another trip and you're looking for something to do, really recommend Cirque du Soleil. Couple other things. An interesting note about the new Frozen ride being designed, they are going back to what we'll call the old school animatronics instead of the back projection live kind of face. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out and looks. And then One last thing, because I know you want to go into that, and then we'll go straight into the top three. For those of you that are interested, gay days are going on right now. It is, of course, Pride Month. For those of you out of the country, it is Pride Month here in the U.S. So Disney World, starting in, it's kind of unofficially official because like Disney acknowledges it. There's not a ton that happens. There's a couple of like treats, and they'll like organize kind of like some different meetups and social events and stuff. But there's nothing any like big. But basically this week, because Disney World starts the first Saturday of June and kind of goes unofficially through that week. And then next week, this is kind of noteworthy for the LGBTQ community. Next week in Disneyland, they are hosting their first ever like after hours for just individuals who have bought tickets who are in the LGBTQ and allied community. So that is happening next Tuesday and next Thursday. They are, of course, sold out. So this is just more information as opposed to go get tickets. So I'll be interested to kind of see details as that unfolds and kind of share it. So just a couple of other news and noteworthy things to kind of tie in addition to Cirque du Soleil. And then Matt has something concerning.
So my concerning thing is, so we've seen protests here in the States as the cast members were kind of negotiating their new contract and all that kind of stuff. Well, they're kind of doing that in Paris right now, except there's no negotiations going on. But they have had pretty consistent cast member strikes here over the last month. And right now it's about 2 to 3 a week. And they're getting upwards of 1,000 to 1,500 people participating inside the park. And they had been up and down Main Street and blocked parades and that kind of stuff. But today's the first day that they kind of blocked the entrance to the castle, so they couldn't shut it down for fireworks tonight. So not only did they block every Dream and Shine Brighter parade, which there's 7 showtimes for that, they blocked the main parade, and they were able to disrupt the fireworks tonight. So these are organized, very organized protests, and they know that they are really disrupting park operations now, and they know how to do it. So what Disneyland Paris did last week is they offered guests the ability to change their tickets. So guests can postpone their visit to a later date. Dated tickets can be rescheduled or refunded, and non-dated tickets registrations can be moved by 10 a.m. the day of that visit. So there are a lot of things that they are trying to do, and they understand that this is going to be disruptive, and it sounds like it's going to be disruptive for a while. So if you are planning a trip to Disneyland Paris, definitely watch. DLP reports really good at reporting what days that the strikes are planned, and when there are planned strikes, they show up in force. When there aren't planned strikes, they aren't at the park. So they are letting the park operate, 5 or 6 days a week, but having one day where it is wildly disrupted. So just kind of be on the lookout for that. But
can you imagine if protests happen that way in here? How much better? Like, we're going to let you go on with your lives, but we're still going to make a point. Because here it's like, nope, we're messing everything up in complete chaos.
It's the difference between a protest and a riot. They are doing it the way it should be done.
Like if it was actually happening, something like how much stuff would we be talking about? Property damage, right?
Yeah. We would be talking about Disney has to close to, replace windows up and down Main Street and all that kind of shit. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. So that is the news, and an extended news because I really wanted to get that Paris thing in because there is a lot going on.
Good thing
but
you got your trip out of the way.
It is time to get to top 3. So Peter, you ready? He's got a pen. He's ready to go. It is top 3 time. Let's go. business trip.
Did the people move around?
It does tingle a little bit. All right. Welcome to Top 3. I'm Matt with the DPI podcast. Over on the other screen is Peter with Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel, and he's got the Wookiee.
Nah, there's no proof.
Yeah, there is.
It's my
Either
son.
you've got the Wookiee or you really need to shave. So, if you've been with us before, thanks for coming back. If you haven't been here for a top 3, this is our ranking part of the show where we draw a random Disney category, and Peter and I have 20 seconds to figure out how we are going to rank whatever we've got in that category. So I am going to pull a chip out of here. We are going to do number 5. And let's see what number 5 is. Number 5 tonight is top 3 statues for the 50th anniversary. Really? You're distraught over this one?
It's fine.
All right. Here we go.
Planning your first trip and getting overwhelmed by all the details? Planning your next trip and just want some new suggestions on things you haven't tried? Contact me at Princess and the Mouse Travel, and I'd love to work with you planning your next trip to the most magical place on earth.
You can contact Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel on Facebook at PATM Disney Travel. Man, 20 seconds keeps going by faster and faster and faster and faster and faster.
Especially on things where, like, in this one, God, how many are there? There's
50.
50 of them?
Yeah.
So I have to go through, like, where have I seen them? Which ones have I interacted with my Magic Band Plus? Let's talk about that just to buy ourselves some more time. So one of the unique advantages of buying the Magic Band Plus, which is the more expensive version, is when you get near one of the statues, you will get a haptic that vibrates your Magic Band, and if you tap it to activate it and hold it near the statue, some type of a song or like phrase from that character will play. So that's pretty neat. So, you know, a reason, one of the few, let's be honest, reasons to just kind of splurge a little bit and get that Magic Band Plus.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of decent reasons to get the Magic Band Plus. I still think it's a little bit overpriced, but it does have some cool functionality within the parks, whether it be with the statues, whether you're doing the Star Wars game through Galaxy's Edge. There's a lot of cool things that you can do with the Magic Bands. So I'll go ahead and start. I'm going to start in Epcot. And I'm going to go with the Hey Hey and Pua statue over in Epcot. It is over by Port of Entry. And basically it's a statue with Hey Hey and then Pua on his head. Or is it Pua? It's Hey Hey with Pua on his head. It's
Pua with Hey Hey on his head. Why would you put the pig on top of the chicken?
Because the pig's small.
No, it's totally Hey Hey on top of Pua.
Okay. Say Hey on top of Pua.
Almost certain.
And
yeah,
so
I'm looking up a picture. I'm finding a picture of this. There's no way you're right. I'm going to find a picture right now.
Okay, Peter's looking for a picture for verification on who's on top.
It's derailed already. We're on number 3.
I mean, any way you slice it's a chicken bacon switch sandwich. So, but yeah, it's Hey Hey and Pua.
It's got to be the chicken on top of it. All right, that's a good one. I was very upset because it's definitely going to be one of my top 3 because I really like that one. I'll go ahead and stay in Epcot, and I will talk about and this is a good one for number 3 because some people feel very differently than I do about this figure. But I am a really, really big fan of Figment. And so over in Epcot, over near his area, you can find Figment in one of the little topiary areas. And I'm just a big fan of Figment. And so I love his statue. I love that he was included in the best characters in the Fab 50 statues. Now, technically, the Fab 50 cheats a little bit because I think there's actually close to like 70-something figures on the 50 statues. 36 statues. There are 50 total figures. So there are 36 statues, and Figment is one of them, one of those 50 characters. So love it. Love Figment. Look for him next time you're in Epcot. So now we got 2 in Epcot, and it is officially Hey standing on top of Pua's head.
Okay, so we do have verification that it is Hey on top of Pua.
Yes, I found it.
You are frozen in
How
the
would
best
you put
pose
it
on your camera right now. You look like Will Smith and Hitch when he gets the shellfish allergy. So
I should be moving it. Am I moving again?
You're moving now. You're good. You're good.
It was because I was opening up a picture as well as streaming. So
you need a better connection, dude. I have like 70 tabs open and. All right, let's go ahead and let's get to number 2. You stupid thing. We will here in a second, I guess. There we go. Choice number 2. Okay, my number 2. I'm going over to Hollywood Studios, and I'm going to go with BB-8.
Unreal. Normally we overlap a little. You literally did buy 2 in a row.
BB-8 is such a great statue because I think you actually get kind of the scale of BB-8 and what he would actually be in real life, and that's really cool. It is over in the Echo Lake area of Hollywood Studios, and no, just a really cool statue. He's there with R2-D2. And just like I said, I think it's really cool because you get that scale. He's a really unique character and at a really cool scale for you to see. So my number 2 is BB-8. Peter, where are you going for your number 2?
I think I'm going to head to Animal Kingdom just to give it a little bit of love. I'm going to try and get into all of the parks here. So we both went Epcot. You went Hollywood Studios. I'll go over to Animal Kingdom and talk about one of my favorites there. I really like the Nemo and Dory statue. So over near, so you would think that, oh, this is probably over by their theater. It is not over by the theater. It is actually really close to where the meet and greet for Doug is. Yeah. So kind of over by that Wilderness Explorer stand near the Tree of Life is actually where you'll find the Nemo and Dory statue. I just like the look of that one. It looks really nice. I really am a big fan of the Finding Nemo franchise. I like that show at Animal Kingdom. It's a great one. Even the redesign is much quicker and cleaner, but still keeping many of the original songs. The songs are just a bit shorter for those of you that did see the other show. But that other show was close to like 40-something minutes long. And now you're in and out, and like, I mean, sitting down, waiting for the show to start, getting up, leaving. But the show itself is like 20 minutes long now. So just way more attainable to fit into your Disney day. So, but that's not what we're here to talk about. I like the Nemo and Dory statue. And again, it is by the Tree of Life over by where you can meet Doug.
All right. Before we get into our number 1s, and Peter, I'm going to let you have your number 1 first this week since I've already taken 2 of yours.
Oh, you go ahead. I've got 3 different ones.
Yeah, I've got 2. So, but before we get to our number 1s, if you have an idea for top 3, hit us up on the website below, patmdisneytravel.wixsite.com/planning, and you can give us an idea for a top 3 episode. We've had a ton of good ideas come from our viewers, so definitely go over there and do that. Or you can just put one in the comments on YouTube or on Twitch or over on Facebook, wherever. Just let us know it is a top 3 idea. So let's go ahead and get into our number 1. I know you want to go to all of the parks, but I'm staying in Hollywood Studios because I think this is by far the best constructed of all the statues, and it's Joe from Soul. He's over there right outside the entrance to the Hollywood Brown Derby, and he's sitting on his piano bench playing the piano, but it's just a set of floating keys. And just the way that they put this one together is really, really cool to look at. It photographs great for the photographers, because you can get the Hollywood Studios sign in the back where you're going back into like the old studio lot area. And just a really, really cool statue. And I think a tip to a movie that doesn't get enough love at Disney yet, because Soul was a really, really good movie. So my number 1 this week is going to be the statue of Joe from Soul. Peter, before you get to your number 1, where can people find you?
Mostly on Facebook. That's the easiest way to find me. And, just search up Princess and the Mouse Disney Travel, and you'll find me over there. That's the easiest thing, and then I'll ask you some questions. You can also find us on our website. That is scrolling periodically. At some point when it is, Matt will go, oh, look, there it is. Excuse me. We'll get talking. Especially now is a great time. I know it sounds crazy to say this, but 2024 packages are released. No time like the present. If you think you want to go in 2024, if you think you have the dates hammered out, here's the bottom line. Let's say you might go during a 2-week period. Give me a call. We'll book you a stay for the entire 2 weeks, knowing full well that we're going to drop it to a 5-night stay, but we will have your room locked in for only a $200 deposit. And then we can trim the vacation down once you hone in on the actual dates that your kid's school or your work or whatever the situation is. The mistake that people make is that they wait sometimes too long trying to figure out the actual dates, when the reality is you can book 10 nights of hotel stay for $200, and there's absolutely no penalty if 70 days before you go, we trim it down to a 4-night stay. Like, there's no issue with that whatsoever. If anything, you're going to make somebody else's day who did shuffle their feet and wait a little bit too long. So,
well, and especially if you're looking at some of those more unique rooms, like the treehouse bungalows or the poly bungalows, or something that might be a little bit harder to get your hands on, booking right on day 1 when the reservations open is usually the only time that you can get something like that, or trying to get it as early as possible. So, if you are looking for one of those cool kind of out of the ordinary room situations, definitely reach out to Peter as well. So, Peter, what is your number 1 this week?
So I will get us to all of the parks, and I know this is kind of a sellout, but in the same way that you just talked about Joe and what he brings in terms of the unique statue artistry, that's one of the reasons I like Nemo and Dory as well. They got this really nice coral reef around them, and it's like kind of set into this rocky garden area, so it photographs really, really well. But I'm going to go with, I got honorable mentions. If I have to pull the Wookiee card, I'll pull the Wookiee card. There are 3 at Magic Kingdom that I really, really love. But my number one, and it totally seems like a sellout and an obvious answer, but I'm going to go with Mickey and Minnie right next to each other. They're just a little bit to the right in one of the little floral areas in the hub. And what's fantastic about Mickey and Minnie is they're together. Mickey's in kind of like a welcome to my home type of stance. Minnie's kind of looking, super Minnie like adorable, hands down, stuff like that. But the shot that you get with that, especially if you can get it early in the morning before the park busies up too much, or late at night when you get the atmospheric lighting going on, is the castles in the backdrop. And so you want to talk about something that photographs really well. Kind of honorable mention, and this one's more of a fun one, is Chip and Dale are kind of to the left side of that same area, and you can get them with a fountain and the castle. This photo right here is that fountain in front of the castle that now Chip and Dale are sitting in front of, because that was taken prior to the Fab 50. So I love that shot and all of that. So yeah, you gotta go with, you've got the two most iconic Disney characters sitting in front of the most iconic thing for Disney World. It just has to be my number one best statue over at Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I think that's a great one to end on. I think if I was going to go honorable mention, I love the Stitch statue at Magic Kingdom. Stitch is kind of coming out of the side of a building with one of the 50th gold coins.
Yeah, he's by the purple wall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, how long do you think before Disney releases these in like a collector's set where you can get the little statues like this size?
So you could get those throughout the 50th. So I don't know. It would make sense. You can actually, what's cool is you can buy them in ornaments right now. If you go into any of the Christmas shops, they have like 8-packs, and there might be, there's 36 statues. I'm going to pay attention. I'm going next week. We can even talk about maybe doing like a little sideshow, because I'll be down there Thursday through Sunday of next week. And I'll double check, but I think you can get all 36, because I know there's 4 different packs, and I think each of the 4 different packs have like, maybe there's 5 different packs and there's 6 to 8 of them in each. But
that would be cool.
I'll double check. I know you can get them in ornaments though, because we almost bought an 8-pack when we were there for spring break. But I'll double check on that when I'm there next weekend. So my honorable mention, since you took an honorable mention, again, I had 2, so I have to trim it down. I really love that they did Gus and Jock as a Fab 50 statue right there by the castle. It's kind of down that path with the wishing well, is where you'll find them. So yeah, I love that they did. Or no, it's before that path, down by the right side turrets, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gus and Jock, I remember. I'm 38 now, and I still remember just loving Gus's and like the way that Gus and Jock interacted with one another, and how he shoved all the corn into his mouth, and like they were very, very memorable characters for me in that movie growing up. And so I love that they made the list of statues as well, because as far as supporting character goes, boy, you got to deep dive in a lot of people's memory to get all the way down to Gus and Jock.
Yeah. All right, well, great top 3. Hey, everybody, thanks for joining us this week. Again, if you do have a top 3 idea, put it down in the website, patmdisneytravel.wixsite.com/planning. There's a box up in the upper right-hand corner. Give us your suggestion. Put it in the Twitch comments, over in the YouTube comments, wherever you can put those ideas. We'd love to do some top 3s, more top 3s from the audience, because we have had some audience participation on this already. No client question this week, but stay tuned. We are working on a new segment that's going to come this fall, and we are going to be doing a very quick, 15-minute deep dive into rides, into restaurants, into hotels. It's going to be a really, really cool segment, I think. We're still kind of ironing out the details, but definitely stay tuned. Check that out when it starts popping up, because we're going to have some really interesting information about, some of the history of some of these areas and that kind of stuff. So, no, I'm really looking forward to it. And then we're going to have a lot of stuff coming out of D23 this September as well. So, again, Thank you guys all for joining us tonight. Have a good week, and we will see you next week. Bye now. Hey, I want to thank everybody that stopped by today. We had Peter with Princesses and the Mouse, Disney Travel, joining us. If you want to get in touch with him, go over to Facebook at PATM Disney Travel. If you're looking for us on social media, you can find us in a few different places. Over on Facebook at DPI Podcast for the show. On the travel side at PATM Disney Travel. Over on Instagram and Twitter are where we do most of our conversations. On Instagram, it's at Princesses and the Mouse. And on Twitter, it's at Disney Insights. Well, thank everybody for watching, listening, everything that you do. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next Tuesday.